So let's talk about reading versus writing. So I've always been a prolific reader. I speed read, but I've never counted how many books exactly that I read in a year. So I was curious about this number. So in December 2022, I decided to count all the books I was going to read in 2023. So throughout the year, I kept track of how many books I read, went through, and so at the end of the year, the end of December 2023, that number was in. And that number was 614 books. Wow! So that doesn't include books I started that maybe weren't to my taste that I didn't finish. That was 614 completed books. So what did I read? Well, I'm a big science fiction and fantasy fan. I've read a lot of those kinds of books. I read a lot of business-related books as well. I love reading books, and I think it's appalling that, according to some surveys, as many as 50% of Americans did not finish a book last year. So to me, book reading is more beneficial than watching TV. But in addition to reading all those books, I have to admit, I do watch some TV as well. And of course, I watch YouTube videos. But this huge number of books, in addition to the other media that I'm watching, made me start to think about my media consumption. Was I missing an opportunity here? What about reading versus writing? Could I be writing more instead of just reading and watching TV and watching YouTube? So like many people, I've always had the fantasy of, what if I won the lottery and never had to work again? What would that look like? What would I do in that case if you didn't have to work? What would you do? So all of us go through this kind of fun little daydream and we think about that. And of course, one of the ideas, I'd love to travel. I'd love to see more of the world, meet more people. That would be really interesting. But something that it kept coming back to me that I would do if I had more time is I would like to write more. Now, I already do a lot of writing. I write blog articles every week for myself, my clients. I write marketing plans. I write proposals. I write emails. So I'm writing all the time. But that's not the kind of writing I want to do. I have written and published a book, Stop Wasting Time. Writing that book was an amazing experience. It helped my business, and it's given me a very affordable resource to give to people who may not have the budget for my time management coaching. I do plan on writing more productivity books, but that feels like work. My secret desire is to write my own science fiction and fantasy books. So I am, of course, a big sci-fi and fantasy fan. I have a lot of these ideas in my head. Some of them I've jotted down notes for them. I've even created some outlines. I've even mind mapped a few book ideas. I've written a few short stories as well, but I've never written a whole fiction novel. So I started to wonder, what if I reduced my reading time and my screen time, and I started to write instead? So instead of waiting to retire or waiting to win the lottery, why not start writing these books now? So I learned when I implemented an exercise program, the power of even just taking a few hours a week and investing those into dedicated time to a goal you wanted to do, which in my case was to be healthier and more fit. And my exercise program has been amazing, and it's helped my energy levels and helped everything. So I thought, what if I applied that same technique to writing? So in 2024, I'm going to take some of my screen and reading time, and I'm going to reinvest it. And I'm going to reinvest it into writing my fiction novels. So now in 2024, I'm no longer going to count how many books I read. Instead, I'm going to count how many words I write. In 2023, I read 614 books. But in 2024, I'm going to write one. If you'd like to be on my mailing list to learn more about my upcoming fantasy and science fiction book releases, please subscribe at the link below. And as always, hit the like and subscribe buttons to help YouTube know that this is great content that they should be sharing with others. Thanks so much for listening. I'm Garland Coulson, Captain Time.